Good evening, and welcome to Have I Got News for You, taking a look at the last 7 days, the last 7 pulsating, vital days of world news. As Iraq runs short of medical supplies, patients waiting for pacemakers are forced to improvise. But Saddam Hussein remains calm and even finds time for his regular Thursday night toga party. More drama in Britain, where the Rochdale social workers' inquiry spreads further south. Over the next half hour, we're going to be looking at the stories and pictures that make up the rest of the week's news as we tax the knowledge of our 4 guests. And I use the word very much in its Iraqi sense. This week, 2 teams of witty and politically astute celebrities couldn't make it, so we've got this lot here instead. We have 2 regular team captains on my right, the man responsible for turning Private Eye into a respectable organ of the press, although which organ I'm not at liberty to say, Ian Hislop, and he's joined by comedian Sandi Toksvig. And to my left, the other team captain, the man they call Mr. Comedy. Sorry, Mr. Merton. Paul Merton, and he's joined by Sunday Times journalist and Booker Prize judge, someone who once described Ian Hislop as sexier than Richard Gere, Kate Saunders. But let's launch headlong into round 1. We're going to show you some bits of footage featuring people who've made the news this week. Ian and Sandy, you're first. Who are these 3 gentlemen, and what did they succeed in failing to do this week?
They're obviously arriving for the 40th anniversary celebration of Noddy's birthday. They've got one of Enid Blyton's sexy novels that they failed to... No, it's not true at all.
No, they're nothing that frivolous. These are 3 members of the Labour Party.
You can tell that by them wearing ill-fitting suits.
They've gone out to Baghdad to see President Hussein.
Yeah.
Thus getting the name the Desert Rats.
And they failed to stay there.
They failed even to see him.
Yes, they failed on virtually every count. Yes.
You can see him on television. I don't know why they went all the way there.
Yeah, astonishingly right. 2 full points. But before they left, I mean, we had a slight feeling that they weren't going to get anywhere because Ron Campbell, one of them, was quoted as saying of Saddam Hussein, he's a Christian, we're all Christians. If he's a good man and a Christian, he will see us. And of course he isn't, which is probably why he didn't. So Ron Finger on the Pulse Campbell, they call him. Paul and Kate, here's your first clip. Who's this, and why is he the black sheep of the family?
Oh.
God, no idea.
This is one of the Osmond brothers. Admitted in public that he's tone deaf, and wanting to know why he wasn't in the Osmonds.
Excellent. Completely wrong. Do you want to have a go?
I think it's old, what's his name, Nikolai thing.
Is Ceausescu's son?
That's the one.
Yeah, it's not Nikolai, but Nikul.
Oh. Nikul.
Yeah,
Nikolai was friends sometimes, but Nikul, if you know him terribly well.
And why was he in the news?
Well, he's a bit of a rotter, really, isn't he?
Well, I don't know if he is.
I'm not sure I can compete with that sort of on-the-spot knowledge.
Well, he's a bit of a rotter. He got 20 years for murder, but he was acquitted of genocide. So compared with his mum and dad, he's really quite a nice guy.
Yeah. Hence the sunglasses, presumably.
Yes, you worked that one out, Ian. Ian and
His father was known
Sandy.
as Dracula, which may help.
I don't think it helps you. You certainly don't get any points for it. Ian and Sandy, no points for guessing who this is, but what is she up to?
No point for guessing who it is.
No, it's Oprah Winfrey.
She's hugging a woman with a hearing condition.
No, that's a small child with a lead pipe.
Yeah.
Of the type that's so useful in the crossroads.
And she's wearing a very large hat with waving feathers. Now, what is that? What do you want to know?
Well, you've got who it is, I suppose. That's not bad. Why is she in the news?
Mrs. Winnie Mandela.
And she's on trial for not being very kind to teenagers.
That'll do, I think.
Hence starting the new campaign, Free Winnie Mandela.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't throw away your Free Mandela T-shirts yet. And finally, in this round, Paul and Kate, who's this vision of loveliness?
New Archbishop of Canterbury hits back at his critics. It was George Foreman.
It is.
No, it's not actually. It's Patrick Stewart from Star Trek: The Second Generation. He's been in the sun.
It's a baldly go.
So this is the Mandela boxing team, isn't it?
Well, George Foreman was closer, really, insofar as it was right.
Yeah.
Perhaps you'd like to tell us why he was in the news?
He fought somebody over the course of one round and knocked them out, and his next opponent's going to be Thor Hurd, apparently.
That brings us to the end of round one, at the end of which Ian and Sandi have soared into a lead of 5, and Paul and Kate have a mere 2. Well, time now, by way of an aside, for our caption competition. Paul and Kate, I'd like you to look at this. And Ian and Sandi have a look at this. And if by the end of the programme you can come up with a witty, scabrous and irreverent caption, we'll all be amazed. And while you're doing that, we're going to ask you to stop doing that and concentrate instead on 4 rather silly headlines from this week's tabloids. One each for you to identify. Paul, what's this all about? Jimmy Hill put us off our dinner.
Now that the BBC doesn't cover Football League matches, Jimmy Hill has to supplement his income by doing a cabaret sex act with a pony. I can't really go into exactly what he do. They're billed as Jimmy Hill and Toby the Very Thirsty Pony. So
Well, it's not what I've got down here. Just as well, I should think.
He was booked. Somebody was booked to be an after-dinner speaker, and they didn't turn up. And Jimmy Hill came in as a late replacement, and he didn't.
I
go
prefer
down
the
very well.
first version.
The first version was funnier.
I think I'd run it.
But the second was more correct. Kate, a marital headline for you. With this pistol, IV Nick.
Could I offer you my body in exchange for a clue? Is it worth that much?
Yes. I'm not sure I'm at liberty to actually accept at the moment, but you're stumped, aren't you?
Yes, I'm absolutely.
Okay.
I write for a big newspaper.
I realise that. It's huge.
It's got little writing in, but it's...
Exchange and Mart. This is the American detectives who went undercover. The woman police officer went undercover for about 6 months. Was getting married to this guy, and all his guests were there. And suddenly, half the guests revealed that they were undercover policemen, and the other half, who were drug dealers, revealed they were also undercover policemen. And there was nobody left to arrest, so they booked the they arrested the organist on grounds of ugliness.
Must be the only wedding in history where the bride gave away the father. Sandi, your rather curious headline is this.
Yes.
No on-board chainsaws, please.
Well, this is to do with the tanks going out to Saudi Arabia. Apparently they're crap, some of these tanks, and so they've got, they were going to have chainsaws in case the chaps couldn't get out. No, it's not true at all.
It's not true.
No,
It's
in fact...
enthralling to listen to.
This is the Howard's Way question.
Okay, go on in.
You're not allowed chainsaws on board ships in Howard's Way, because it would make the plot interesting.
You're not allowed chainsaws on airlines. It's actually illegal to take a chainsaw on an airline because apparently chainsaws in people's personal luggage has been causing fires.
Absolutely right, that's incredible.
There you are.
2 full points there. It's a revelation by the Civil Aviation Authority that one of the chief causes of fires on planes is that old problem of having chainsaws in your hand. Anyway, Ian, your headline reads like this. The Great Plague of 1990.
Gaza. No, this is Jeremy Beadle. No.
Good. Well, I'll give you a point for amusement anyway, but the actual answer is that crime is up 17% in the second quarter of 1990. Not very interesting, is it, really?
Well, it's interesting, because Mrs. Thatcher says it's our fault.
It is, yes,
is.
Absolutely right.
Apparently it's up 26% in Milton Keynes, which I think says something.
The message is don't get burgled. Stupid people.
Yes, it's absolutely right. Mrs. Thatcher has put the blame on victims who don't take proper precautions. She doesn't understand, or at least she